In a historic move, Mali has replaced French as its official language in a new constitution, embracing local tongues amid growing anti-French sentiments and political climate. Mali has officially removed French as an official state language, marking a shift away from its colonial past. The West African country's new constitution, validated by the Constitutional Court on Friday, solidifies this decision after gaining an overwhelming 96.91% approval in a June referendum. The primary working language will now be French, while the nation's 13 national languages will receive formal recognition as official languages. Additionally, 80 local languages, including Bambara, Bobo, Dogon, and Minyanka, some of which were granted national language status in 1982, will be retained. Mali has been under the rule of a military junta, following a decade of political instability and increased jihadist insurgencies. On Saturday, junta leader Colonel Assimi Goïta implemented the new constitution, marking the beginning of the Fourth Republic in Mali, according to the presidency. The constitution is viewed as crucial for rebuilding the nation after years of turbulence. Previously, Mali had witnessed 2 additional coups, creating a sense of uncertainty and delay in holding elections, which were postponed from February 2022 to February 2024. This decision by Mali to shift away from the French comes at a time of growing anti-France sentiments in West Africa due to perceived military and political interference. Relations between Paris and Bamako have soured over accusations of military failures against jihadists and allegations of political interference. In August, France concluded its 9-year military operation in Mali, withdrawing its last troops from the country that aim to combat armed groups. Late last year, the military government of Mali ordered all NGOs, including those funded by France, to halt operations in response to Paris's decision to suspend development aid to Bamako due to concerns about Mali's alleged cooperation with the Wagner Russian private military company. Wow, that's a very interesting paragraph. It seems like Mali is undergoing a major transformation in its political and linguistic landscape. We only wonder how this will affect the people of Mali and their relations with other countries. One of the main challenges that Mali faces in implementing this language change is the lack of resources and infrastructure to support the education and communication in the local languages. According to a 2015 UNESCO report, only 33% of Malians are literate and most of them are fluent in French. The government will need to invest in developing curricula, textbooks, dictionaries, and media outlets in the local languages, as well as training teachers and translators. This will require a lot of time, money, and coordination, especially in a country that is still struggling with security and economic issues. The language change is also likely to have an impact on Mali's cultural identity and diversity. By promoting the use of local languages, Mali is asserting its sovereignty and independence from its former colonial power, France. This could also foster a sense of pride and unity among the Malian people, who speak a variety of languages and dialects. However, some critics argue that this could also create divisions and conflicts among different ethnic groups, who may feel marginalized or excluded by the choice of official languages. Moreover, some fear that abandoning French could isolate Mali from the international community and limit its opportunities for trade, tourism, and cooperation. Another aspect that Mali needs to consider is the reaction of its regional and international partners to this language change. Mali is part of the Francophonie, an organization of countries that share French as a common language. The Francophonie provides Mali with various benefits, such as cultural exchanges, scholarships, technical assistance, and diplomatic support. By dropping French as an official language, Mali could risk losing these benefits or damaging its relations with other members of the Francophonie, especially France. On the other hand, Mali could also seek to strengthen its ties with other African countries that have similar linguistic policies or aspirations, such as Rwanda, Tanzania, or Ethiopia. The language change is also a reflection of Mali's desire to reclaim its rich and diverse linguistic heritage, which has been suppressed and neglected by the French colonial and post-colonial policies. Mali has a long history of oral traditions, literature, poetry, and music in its local languages, which have contributed to its cultural and artistic expression. By giving official recognition to these languages, Mali is honoring its ancestors and preserving its legacy for future generations. However, some challenges remain in ensuring the quality and accessibility of these languages, especially in terms of standardization, documentation, and promotion. The language change is also a response to the changing demographics and dynamics of Mali's population, which has become more diverse and urbanized over the years. Mali has experienced a rapid population growth, migration, and urbanization, which have increased the demand and exposure to different languages, especially French and English. By adopting local languages as official languages, Mali is trying to accommodate the needs and preferences of its citizens, who may have different levels of proficiency and fluency in various languages. However, some difficulties may arise in implementing this policy across different sectors and regions, especially in terms of coordination, communication, and integration. Well, what is the role of language in Mali's politics? The role of language in Mali's politics has become more prominent in recent years, especially after the 2012 coup and the subsequent crisis that engulfed the country. The coup was led by a group of military officers who were dissatisfied with the government's handling of the Tuareg rebellion in northern Mali. The Tuareg are a nomadic people who speak Tamashek, a Berber language that is distinct from the other languages of Mali. The Tuareg have long demanded more autonomy and recognition for their culture and language in Mali. They have also been involved in several armed conflicts with the central government and other groups over land and resources. The 2012 coup triggered a series of events that plunged Mali into chaos and violence. The Tuareg rebels seized control of northern Mali and declared an independent state called Azawad. They were soon joined by Islamist militants who imposed a strict version of Sharia law and destroyed many historical and cultural sites in Timbuktu and other cities. The Islamist militants also banned music, sports, and other forms of expression that they deemed un-Islamic. The Malian government lost control of most of its territory and faced a humanitarian crisis. In response to this situation, France intervened militarily in 2013 to help the Malian government regain control of northern Mali and restore stability. France was supported by other African countries and international organizations that formed a peacekeeping mission called MINUSMA. France also provided economic and political assistance to Mali to help it recover from the crisis and prepare for new elections. The French intervention was welcomed by many Malians who saw it as a necessary measure to save their country from terrorism and separatism. However, it also sparked some resentment and criticism from others who saw it as a form of neo-colonialism and interference. Some Malians accused France of having ulterior motives and interests in Mali's natural resources and strategic location. Some also questioned France's role as a mediator and guarantor of peace in Mali. The role of language in Mali's politics became more evident in 2023, when Mali decided to remove French as an official state language and replace it with local languages. This decision was made by the military junta that took power in 2020 after another coup that ousted President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. The junta leader Colchior Assimi Goïta implemented a new constitution that marked the beginning of the Fourth Republic in Mali. The constitution was approved by a referendum that had a high turnout and support from the majority of Malians. The language change was seen by many Malians as a way of asserting their sovereignty and independence from France and its colonial legacy. It was also seen as a way of honoring their rich and diverse linguistic heritage that had been suppressed and neglected by the French colonial and post-colonial policies. It was also seen as a way of fostering a sense of pride and unity among the Malian people who speak different languages but share common values and aspirations. However, the language change also faced some challenges and criticisms from others who saw it as a risky and impractical move. Some argued that the language change would create more divisions and conflicts among different ethnic groups who may feel marginalized or excluded by the choice of official languages. Some also argued that the language change would isolate Mali from the international community and limit its opportunities for trade, tourism, and cooperation. Some also argued that the language change would require a lot of resources and infrastructure to support the education and communication in the local languages, which Mali lacked. The role of language in Mali's politics is therefore a complex and dynamic one, as it reflects the country's past, present, and future. Language is not only a means of communication, but also a symbol of identity, culture, and power. Language can also be a source of unity or division, cooperation or conflict, inclusion or exclusion. Language can also be influenced by external factors, such as colonialism, globalization, and intervention. Language can also influence internal factors, such as participation, representation, and expression. Language is therefore an essential and integral part of Mali's politics. And that's that for today's video, folks. We hope you enjoy this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Also, don't forget to comment below and let us know which things impressed you the most. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.